wildlife photography.
Last night on the Parkland podcast, it was a thriller as North County outlasted Sullivan 24-22. The Raiders stymieing a 2-point conversion attempt with under a minute to go, and North County has now won 3 in a row. They've put themselves in a position, maybe after starting 1-5, to actually host a playoff game. We'll see how the numbers crunch out for them. Tonight we have two teams that last week both played games that came down to the final play. North County scores late. They go for 2. They go on top of Dexter, 4th ranked in the state, 22-21. Dexter gets it with 50 seconds left, and their most dangerous player on the field gets all the way down to the 4-yard line before August Black hauls him down. For Farmington, well, they're on the road at Festus last week, 4th-ranked Festus in Class 4, and they have their most dangerous player, Farmington does, in the end zone on the final game, on the final play of the game, and the pass just off the fingertips of Josh McCarthy. The difference in that one, Festus wins it 41-36. A couple of St. Francis County rivals tonight. 9th-ranked Farmington is 6-2, and the Central Rebels now 5-3. But Coach Stolzer, when these Rebels play well, they're a better team than 5-3. They knocked off the 4th-ranked team in the state, an undefeated Dexter, last week. We saw them do something that you don't see very often. We saw them start with one completely offensive scheme. They didn't even have a quarterback, and then the second half rolls around after they don't get much, and Brody Pigg throws for 63 yards and actually becomes our Domino's Pizza player of the game because he really flipped their fortunes.
Well, the week before against Valley, that 2-back set, snap the ball to one or the other. Defense doesn't know who's going to get the ball, and of course if you got a head of steam blocking and the backs of course know where the ball's going, they just kind of nickel and dimed them to death or whatever, and they took Valley into a lead. Park Hills led at halftime, I think it was 21-20, and Valley made some adjustments at halftime, came out and held them to 21 points at first half score, and then they scored about 20 or whatever and went ahead. Valley's got an awful good football team, but last week, it worked for them against Valley, and Corey thought, well, we're going to try it against Dexter, which a bit when they got in 3rd and long situations, kind of threw him into the wolves or whatever, which Dexter pretty well knew what was going to happen at the time. But then the second half, they put him in there, and he performed very well. They went back to the conventional offense and completed a few good passes and ended up making a heck of a thrilling victory out of it.
Well, this was a great game last year that we covered on the Parkland podcast, and I think it's always fun when Park Hill Central and Farmington play one another. After Farmington got evicted from the conference all those years ago, the two didn't play for a long stretch, but they've played quite consistently here lately, and they've split the last 8 contests. Mike, we covered the game last year. Farmington was down 3 scores entering the 4th quarter of that one, and they won that ball game 42-28. Park Hill Central controlled it early. Farmington, it seemed, kept making mistake after mistake. When they stopped making mistakes, then they surged ahead, and it was a thrilling victory for the Knights last year. This year, it's Brent Eckley. It's a brand-new scheme, but I think it's always fun when these two get together.
I just think there's something to be said for area rivalries, and regardless of sport, regardless what the two towns may be, I think it means something, and I think this one does, and last year, it felt like it meant something. Now, this year, gentlemen, as far as the big picture in the district play, I think Farmington, they're locked in. They know what they're going to be. They're the top seed in their district. And Park Hills is kind of in a real limbo situation. They could end up in a number of places, anywhere from 1 to 2 to 3. They could end up in any of those spots. With a loss tonight, who knows if they end up at even a 5 is not out of the realm of possibility. All that being said, the game has more meaning probably for Park Hills tonight than it does for Farmington, but I don't think those players in the Farmington side are going, well, you know what, districts, we're kind of locked in. It doesn't matter how we do against Central. No, it matters how you do against Central, and they know that. And I'm looking forward to a good one tonight. I'm really curious to see how it plays out.
Talked with both of the coaches this week, and so what are the challenges that the other side presents? And Coach will talk to you a little bit about strategy in this one. First of all, Brent Eckley said Central is challenging to prepare for because it's almost like preparing for two teams. They run two completely different schemes on offense, and you're not sure when they're going to change gears.
You know, the thing about it, you don't know what you're going to see tonight.
Yeah. In addition to everything else, right?
Put a new wrinkle in. I mean, it just kind of, for Central, it's kind of, they've got a lot at stake. But I was going to say winner take all. They're not gonna end up in first place in their district. But I talked to Corey a little bit down on the field earlier, and it's a crazy scenario. They beat Dexter, of course, who's number one in their district. They've beaten Potosi, who's above them, and it's. Like I told him, I looked at the district standings this morning and saw where everything was, and saw Park Hills is below them. Anyhow, I thought, well, right now the state is they haven't gone by who's beaten who. I figure they'll wait and spend the wee hours of the night, making those adjustments. And Corey said he talked to the state officials today, and I don't think there's going to be many adjustments made. Looking at the point spread on these. The way it's set up now. So I don't know. It's going to be one of those things where, like you said, Park Hills kind of controls their own destiny. First off, they've got to win the ball game tonight to really make matters crazy. But you never know where you're going to end up at. I've seen teams, we were down there talking. I can remember the year before I went to St. Genevieve. They were 9-1, I think, and I think Potosi was 9-1. St. Gen had beaten Potosi in the regular season. However, Potosi had more points on this point system, so Potosi ended up going to the state playoffs that year instead of St. Genevieve.
So did they have a point system long ago?
Yes, long ago.
So they had a point system. They went away from it. Then you had the 4-district team play. One team gets out of it. Then they had the 4-district team play. 2 teams get out of it. So for just to let folks know how districts work now, you have a predetermined 8-team field in your district, 8 teams. You play your first 9 games, and it's all based on a mathematical equation. Yeah, you get points for a win or a loss, however that turns out. You get points what class of team you play, if you play up or down, what their record is, what their opponent's record is, and it's all fed into a mathematical formula.
Yeah, you almost got to be a math expert to figure these things out.
So you've coached through a lot of different playoff scenarios. Yes. Which one do you like best?
I kind of like the 4-team district where head-to-head you had to beat who. The bad thing about that is you might luck out and have 3 other teams in your district that aren't real good, and so if you can beat them, then you move on to the sectional game. But, sooner or later, you're going to have to beat somebody down the line. But I like that one because you knew where you were going to be playing and or who you were going to be playing. And, it came down to a sectional game. You could always kind of figure out who you were going to play, because there were times playing our last game we knew that we had already clinched that spot or whatever. But it just, but back then, though, one of the bad things about that was you played your 4-team district, and then you went from a Friday night possibly to a Wednesday game, and then from that Wednesday, if you won, you played the following Monday, and then if you won that following Monday, Saturday, then you played Saturday, and then the following. But that's why a lot of teams back when they still had that were going to Thursday night game, and that gave you an extra day to prepare. And at that time, if you get in the playoffs, any extra time that you can get is going to be very beneficial to your preparation.
All right, so you coached for 40 years. You've seen a lot of different playoff systems. Mike Reeves was just reminding us before the game that he has covered area sports for 36 years. We'll get his perspective on it. I like this playoff system, and I'll tell you why. First of all, everybody's included. Second of all, I feel like you earn your place in the district. What you do during the regular season gives you an opportunity to earn a home game or to maybe earn a first-round game against an opponent that, mathematically anyway, is an inferior opponent. So I like this current system pretty well. Mike Reeves, you've seen a lot of playoff systems. What are your thoughts on it?
Fairly quick here. We got an anthem coming up, but I'm going to tell you this. I have not liked any of them. I have not found any yet that's going to be the way that you really know who the best teams coming out of certain areas are. Let me continue.
How you doing, buddy?
I also don't have the answer for what would be a better solution. I'm kind of with Coach, though. I liked those 4. I liked the pods of 4. That's probably been my favorite, but they're all so difficult. Guys, they're miserable to try to figure out and be fair. Somebody's always going to feel slighted. That's just the way it's going to be.
Anthem upcoming. More of your Knuckleball Primetime pregame show on Parkland Sports Live when we come back.
Why do so many people like working at the Southeast Missouri Mental Health Center?
The pay is awesome. What we do for our clients is awesome. The coworkers that we have, the staff, everybody is just, they're all welcoming.
I feel very supported. It's a great network of people that we have working here. We really work together, I think, to try to improve the lives of those that we serve.
The insurance is phenomenal. The cost is minimal. They're good to us. And the benefits are so great, you can't beat it.
Apply today.
When comfort matters, count on Capayas Heating and Cooling. Proudly serving St. Francis and surrounding counties, they are your local Bryant Factory authorized dealer, delivering top quality heating and cooling solutions for your home or business. Founded in 2004 by Chuck Capayas, a family-owned and operated company that you can trust. Visit capayasheatingandcooling.com today. Capayas Heating and Cooling in Farmington, 756-1224.
Looking for your next car, truck, van, or SUV? Point to Pettis. At Pettis Automotive, service, affordability, and selection are more than just words. They're the foundation of everything they do. You'll see the selection when you drive by any of their 3 locations. You'll feel the affordability when you talk to their experienced sales team. And you'll love the service every time you come in for maintenance. New or pre-owned, from Farmington to Fredericktown to DeSoto, point to Pettis. Visit pettisauto.com. Point to Pettis.
Do you often ask others to repeat themselves? Is the TV volume creeping up higher? Hi, I'm Dr. Karen Melton, and it could be time to have your hearing checked. Hearing loss happens gradually, making it hard to notice. At Hearing Care Partners, we offer thorough hearing evaluations that uncover even subtle changes in your hearing over time. Early detection can improve your hearing and your life. Start prioritizing your hearing today. Schedule your appointment now at hearingcarepartners.com. At Hearing Care Partners, we listen so you can hear.
The Farmington Knights 6-2, ranked 9th in the state in Class 5. The Central Rebels just a couple of years removed from a state championship. They are 5-3. It's a meeting of coaches who both have state titles under their belt and who are both now Hall of Famers alongside this guy, a state title and a Hall of Fame, a couple of Hall of Fames for Coach Stolzer as well. And Coach, let's talk a little bit about what role injuries will play in the matchups tonight. You've got a new offense for Farmington that they have learned this year, and they have decided that Coy Fripp is the running back that they're going to feature this year, and he's done a marvelous job. He got injured, though, and they'll be without Coy Fripp. I think that Coach Eckley, in large part, does have a plug-and-play offense, right? He's got a set of rules. You're going to follow that. You're going to run the scheme. Plus, Tatum Tinsley, their quarterback, is their leading rusher, but certainly that diminishes their offense a little bit without Coy.
Well, a little bit. I mean, the athletes he's got, I'm sure, he'll take a wide out and put him in the backfield, or he'll put somebody back there who's very capable of running the ball. And, of course, their quarterback, he's got some big-time yards throwing the ball this year and, dual threat running the ball. So, by no means is their offense hampered whatsoever, I don't think.
On the defensive side, for the Central Rebels, they have a couple of great outside linebackers that they have lost, it sounds like, for the season. Dakota Bowers a few games ago tore an ACL, and we saw Chad Cosby, a terrific outside linebacker, go down with injury last week. Now, Rodney Greenwald came in, just a sophomore, and he was sensational last week playing outside linebacker. Devin Graff will hold the other outside linebacker position. And Mike Reeves, you were down on the field last week in that tremendous win over Dexter, and boy, it seemed like the Central Rebels were losing guys every drive or every other drive, but they seemed to go in there and contribute. And so there's going to be a limit to how many guys you can lose and lose production, but the Rebels have always done a nice job with next man up.
And I think one good thing that came out of it is a lot of those injuries that look like they might be more than just 1 week turned out not to be that, and that is beneficial. But most good teams, guys, you know this, they've got somebody sitting in the wings who may not be the exact equal of the guy on the field, but you can be comfortable enough that they can get the job done and keep you moving in the right direction. Both these teams have that kind of depth. Probably Farmington a little more than Central has it, but Central's shown they've got guys who can step in and get it done, and you mentioned that from last week.
Coach Stolzer, we talked a little bit about the challenge of preparing for Central, as they'll throw a lot of things at you. In our discussions with Corey Schweiss, what will be particularly challenging about facing this Farmington outfit, he unequivocally said it's the speed, and I'm not talking about 40 times. He said the speed with which they run their offense is very challenging. He says that's something that you try to replicate and practice, but very hard to do.
No, they play fast, as it's called. I mean, the official blows the ball dead, and their kids are lining up for the next play, and they get that play just bam, bam, bam like that. And Central's got a lot of kids going both ways, and if Farmington's able to control the ball, keep Central's defense on the field, run that that fast offense, it's going to tire their kids out, and Farmington will have the edge on that aspect there. So Central's going to have to stop them, put them in long situations and get the ball back. And and Central's a ball control offense. They're not that, they've got some kids who can break the long ones or long pass plays or runs like they did last week, but they're more so of 3, 4, 5 yards and move the ball down the field, occupy take a lot of time off the clock. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on tonight.
And not only is it a conditioning concern, but for Coach Schweiss, he told me that there are 2 outside linebackers in Bowers and Cosby who they will be without tonight and presumably for the rest of the season. He said those are the players a lot of times that will do their checks and get guys in the right spot. So you have perhaps a little less experience on there making those right.
Do this without Johnny or Tom or whoever the kid's name is, but we'll see. Central, like I said last week, that's got to give them some momentum going. I was wondering about that. A lot of times you have these big emotional wins, and your next game sometimes you've got that letdown. So, there's just so many things that you can look at or whatever, wondering about how this ball game is going to progress or what it's going to be like. So kickoff time's about here, so we're about to see.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us for our Knuckleball Primetime pregame show. The Barn Media Group and Podcast Network is your one-stop destination for all things independent. Dirty Right Rear Podcast, Knuckleball Primetime, The Tippy Joe Show, Vulgar Display of Podcast, Midwest Mixtapes, Bible Time at the Barn, and more. Something for everyone. Follow the Barn on all socials. Find the latest episode of your favorite show wherever you get your podcast. Hey, it was nice to see Mark Toady up here. He and Jason Lowry, of course, started the Parkland podcast, and this is an offshoot of that, Parkland Sports Live. I went to those gentlemen prior to last year, and I said, how about we do some football on your podcast? I think you're doing a great job with local information and news and interviews. And they said, well, I don't know, maybe not. And then they called me a couple weeks later and they said, let's do it. So we've had a great time doing it over the last couple years, and we've seen some great games. And Mike Reeves, you guys had a great one last night. Boy, that was fun. And North County stuffs Sullivan at the goal line on a 2-point conversion. North County started 1-5. They have maybe a chance at a home game to start the playoffs now.
Yeah, they do have it. It was a fun game to watch. Just a lot of strategy in the way the game was played out. I will tell you, though, Brian Jones very forthright in the postgame saying, you know what, I'm not sure we want to move up and get that 4 spot because the number 1 seed in that district is Festus, and they are by far the cream of the crop. He said maybe if we stay around 6, we don't see them to the championship game. But what a win it was for them. 3 straight for the Raiders.
Yeah, they've turned it around. Josh McCarthy going to kick it away for Farmington. Farmington in their gray uniforms. They'll push it from the left to the right as Wyatt Colley has the pictures for us. And Jacob Towers, our engineer here on Parkland Sports Live. and always appreciate their great work. Harris Foster, August Black of the Deep Mans. Instead, it's an up kick, and Central will start at their own 37-yard line. Let's meet the starters, courtesy of Capias Heating and Cooling. Brody Pigg, the quarterback. We will see if he starts on the field. Coach, are they going to start with a quarterback tonight after he came in and gave him such a great injection last week?
Well, I think we're going to see both. I look for them to start in their conventional offense, and when it gets short yardage situation, we might see the two back shoot a shoe. They're lying right now looking at them. They're very close together, and they've got the two other backs in the backfield there. Looks like they're going to try the old power. Now they're going to shift out of it.
Now they go two wides to each side, and Brody Pigg indeed is the quarterback. August Black the running back. They'll put a man in motion, fake the reverse, fire it out to the right side. Passes collected by Brody Cole and stretches out for a 10-yard gain. Coach Schweiss throwing formations and wrinkles at him in the first play, huh?
Like I told, we talked about a while ago, you never know what he's going to come up with, but I'm sure he had some more wrinkles up his sleeve, and we'll be able to see. Hard telling what else tonight.
Central has Chandler Leibarker at the center, Evan Schaefer, Silas Richardson are the guards. You've got Jason Threlkeld and Keegan Sherrill as the tackles. Nick Fowler is going to be a wide receiver. Max Woods, tight end wide receiver. We'll see Brody Cole and Devin Graff out there as well, and Karis Foster will be a wide receiver and a running back. 1st and 10 for Central, and they're looking down the field, and they're looking deep over there to Nick Fowler, and the pass just overthrown for Fowler. Owen Barron out there on coverage. Capias Heating and Cooling, proudly serving St. Francis and surrounding counties. Capias Heating and Cooling, founding in 2004 by Chuck Capias and his wife, Chris, sons Chuck, Eric, and Brian, and daughter Amy. Family owned and operated. You can trust to provide you with the best possible sales and service. Capias HeatingCooling.com. We'll meet that Farmington defense coming up after this play. Double tights and a couple of lead blockers off to the left side. Nick Fowler goes in motion to the right side, and Pigg now comes down under center. Karis Foster, the motion man. They'll fake it to him, and Pigg, under some heavy pressure, manages just to get the ball away before being dropped out there on a good chase down by Farmington pursuer Walker Lout. Let's meet that Farmington defense now. Walker Lout is out there. You've got Anderson Tischer as the starting nose guard, Chamberlain Tischer as an end, along with Colin Moon. Porter Herman, middle linebacker, Josh McCarthy, Leask, and Lout are the linebackers. Hudson Buchanan, Owen Barron on the corners, with Kendall Wright and Jackson Tinsley as the safeties. From Capias Heating and Cooling. 3rd and 10 for Central. They've got it at their own 46-yard line. Here's a reverse to Nick Fowler, and it's a reverse pass. He completes it back to Pigg. Pigg now struggling along the far sideline. It's not a first down, but it might give him a chance to go for it on 4th on a gain of 7 yards. Nick Fowler throwing it.
Park Hills has not lined up in the same offensive formation yet. It's just, their kids are doing a very good job. Obviously, they spend a lot of time at a practice field because it takes a lot to learn all those different things, the different shifts, and here we go again.
It's so fun. Yeah, you never really know what.
Farmington's over there scratching their heads.
Coach Swy, and Jake Bridges is actually calling the plays for this Central offense this year. He's been Corey's understudy and, of course, owns the passing records at Central. Pigg back in the pocket now, and there's a flag before the play ever got underway. So it was a nice gain for Central and 7 yards on 2nd down. And now it'll be a 4th and long, and they'll bring out the punt team.
Well, they had a player lined up. It was Foster was lined up in the neutral zone, which cost them those 5 yards, and now a punt situation.
Mike, we usually see some of those wrinkles develop as the game goes along, but Bridges and Schweiss and company throwing some stuff at them early on here.
And I wonder how much that has to do with their thinking they may not be able to just line up and go toe-to-toe with that defensive line.
Yeah.
We'll see about that, too.
Nick Fowler punts it away, bounces, and takes a big Central hop, rolling inside of the 20-yard line all the way down to the 15.
Well, Farmington came off the edge and nearly got a hand on that. Central's kid, their punter, just barely got that ball away, and then, like you said, he's got a good, nifty bounce out of it. Set Farmington back inside their own 15-yard line, but fast offense, here we go.
Let's meet the Capias Heating and Cooling starting lineups for the Farmington Knights. Tatum Tinsley. We'll get into some of the numbers as we move along. Tatum Tinsley is the quarterback. Hudson Buchanan listed as the starting running back, and we'll see if he's out there to start the game with the injury to Coy Fripp. Coy Fripp injured his finger actually tore a chunk off of his finger, and that's why he is not available tonight. The Knights will have Matt Canterbury at the center, Scott Fripp, Connor Farrell, the guards, Jackson Boyd, Isaac Owens are the tackles. First pass is incomplete by Tatum Tinsley. Tinsley leads them in rushing on the year. Tatum has done a nice job in that department, nearing 1,000 yards, 912 yards rushing for him on the year, 114 per game, and he's thrown for 1,480 yards. That's 185 per game, so a true dual-threat quarterback. He'll have Nolan Blankenship, Adam Bilgreen, Corbin Phillips, Caden Kimbrough as wide receivers. Josh McCarthy and Isaac Fripp are slot receivers. Here's a run by Tinsley. He tucks it, runs it, and now he's got a big field ahead. Tinsley breaking out of the pack into the open, and they will not catch him. A huge gain for Tatum Tinsley of 85 yards. It would be 6-0 Farmington. However, they're going to bring this one all the way back.
That flag came flying in almost immediately as he approached the 40, and the official was adamant about it, no question about that. And he was running into the end zone, the central sideline, everybody was clapping. It's like it was an odd visual.
This little option play, Central took away the pitch man, and so Tinsley just turned and took it the distance, but I haven't seen what the penalty was yet.
Yeah, did they indicate hold, Mike? We just watched the replay, and that
was the indication.
And it was hard to see where the hold came in there. That's a 10-yard penalty, but guys, that's a probably 7-point penalty.
Yes,
right there. That'll cost him 85 yards. Tinsley with a quick flip over to the left side. So the Knights looking to get out a little bit of that trouble. That was a completion to Walker Lout. So that was a spot foul. It didn't create a 1st and 20 for Farmington, just a 1st and 10. But Lout with the 8-yard gain on the little flip by Tinsley, his first completion. And now they'll go Buchanan up the gut. Buchanan put his head down right there. And I'll tell you what, I didn't think that it looked like he had a huge hole, but he just gained 7 yards right there.
Yeah, put his head down. He got a little extra push there when first contact.
Good work by Farrell and Boyd on the right side, and this Farmington offense going quickly. 4 wide receivers to the right side. This is Josh McCarthy. 2 blocks, and he may do it. Josh McCarthy can pick him up and put him down, and he extends the gap between defenders as he makes his way into the end zone. A 59-yard pitch and catch. It goes Tinsley to McCarthy, and this time it'll count.
Well, Farmington does a lot of misdirection. If Park Hill's linebacker was in there getting keys, they pulled their lineman to the left side, the quarterback through right side, and it's just, you can't really get reads. It makes it tough when they're doing a lot of misdirection stuff like that with the linemen.
They've used McCarthy primarily as a slot guy and in kind of that inside receiver guy this year. They ran him a little bit last year as the extra point sails up and through by McCarthy, and the Knights are on top 7-0. 9:48 remaining here in the first quarter, and Farmington strikes first. 7-zip Knights. We'll take a look at that touchdown when we come back. We'll tell you about the drive, and we'll head down to the field with Mike Reeves. After this, on Parkland Sports Live.
Since 1941, Busenbark Flooring has been Southeast Missouri's trusted name in flooring. This family-owned business features top-quality carpet, tile, and hardwood, along with countertops, kitchens, and bathrooms, all with expert installation. Need to haul it? Busenbark Trailer Sales has you covered. Come see the large selection of dump trailers, equipment haulers, goosenecks, livestock trailers, and more. Visit busenbarkflooring.com and busenbarktrailersales.com, or stop by and see everything at the Fairgrounds exit on Highway 67.
Well, here's a look at that touchdown by the Farmington Knights, Coach.
Watch your right side of their line, or their left side pulls out like it's going to be a sweep or something. The quarterback, instead of pitching, he turns and fires it to the slot man, and he's off to the races.
McCarthy going. McCarthy ran for 144 yards last year in this meeting. His first impact comes as a receiver here. The kickoff is initially muffed, but it's picked up by Husky Kane. And Central will have its next opportunity. Was McCarthy moving as fast as it looked like from up here, Mike?
Hey, guys, here's the thing. It wasn't the end speed. I was impressed with how fast he got to top speed.
Yes.
It was 2 steps gone. I'm down here at a great angle to see what happened, and at first I thought, well, that'll be a nice gain, and then 2 steps later, it's like, yeah, nobody's catching him today. That was really impressive. I love the burst of speed.
And, Coach, I love how you described the left side of that line came over and just opened the thing up for him.
Yeah, just like you said, they pulled like it was going to be a quick pitch or a sweep, and the quarterback spun and tossed it outside. Had backers and corners moving the other way. And
well, Coach, Central runs essentially 2 distinct offenses, and they throw other things at you. The first drive, we saw Brody Pigley, the offense, the quarterback. Now they go without the quarterback, and the first rush of the game goes to Karis Foster, and he shoves it up ahead for 5 yards. This is their you know what I haven't asked Coach Schweiss that I should have? Has he told you the name of this offense or this formation?
No.
A lot of folks call it a wildcat.
Well, usually when you put a running back in place of the quarterback, that's what it's called. I'm sure he's got some kind of a name for it.
So it's Black and Foster. This time Black gets it, and Central gets more men to the point of attack than Farmington can muster. It's a gain of 6 yards and a first down. August Black with 6 yards there. August has rushed for 792 yards on the year, and his average yards per carry is what impresses me. 6.8 per. He rushes for 99 yards a game. Karis Foster with 449 yards coming in on the ground, 6.7 per carry. But Karis has also caught 14 passes to lead the team for 166 there. Both guys really dual threat kind of guys, can run it, can catch it, return guys as well. 1st and 10 for Central at their own 40-yard line. And once again, both running backs in the formation, just standing there in tandem style. It's Black this time for 2 yards.
Hey, guys, just to keep it real simple, if it's a wildcat formation when a running back is in the backfield to receive the snap, isn't this just the Wildcats? Just put an S on
Plural,
it.
there you go.
That'd be
It's
fine.
the Wildcats formation.
Good call, Mike.
When Farmington used to run that, I called it the Wild Knight offense. I thought that, but yeah, the Wildcats. I like that. You might as well go with that. Karis Foster runs the play in, and we're at the 7:56 mark of the first quarter. 7-0 Farmington on top. A 59-yard touchdown reception by McCarthy. 2nd and 8 for Central, and here's Karis Foster bursting through the right side. Just using his alignment to carry him down the field, and a 20-yard gain.
Okay, Foster can run the ball. You know, I've been impressed in the games we've done this year of him catching the ball. Okay, there it is. It's just like a rugby scrum or something. He keeps his legs churning.
He just sealed off the hallway for
I
him.
think he watched Dexter's backs last week where they picked up extra yardage.
Devin Turnbow, a terrific running back for them. They had a host of them, though. 1st and 10 for Central. They're looking for the equalizer now, trailing 7-0. They've got their tandem backs in the backfield. This time it's Nick Fowler. So they sneak Fowler into the backfield there, and he gains a pair.
What Central's doing is they're blocking down. Everybody's blocking this. Then they block, their linemen block to their left. The 2 up backs on either side of the center went to kick out the 1 or 2 guys, and the other on the end of the line of scrimmage. And, of course, the ball carrier tried cutting up inside that.
They call that the wedge blocking scheme.
Yes,
and they just try to get more players to the spot than you can block. They've got 2 lead blockers just right in front of the action. This is August Black, and he just follows them through. Got a good initial gain. And a nice tag at the end of that by Jackson Tinsley to come and help out. August Black with a 5-yard gain right there. Jackson Tinsley, the nice hit. 3rd and 5 in Central. You would think of 4-down territory here.
I would think so. I mean, they've got to get something on the scoreboard here.
Yeah.
Keep the ball out of Farmington's hands.
They'd like to get something on the play as well to make a manageable 4th. Heck, they'd like a first down is what they'd really like. And they've got, once again, Nick Fowler in the backfield. He becomes the lead blocker for August Black. And August Black runs in the middle of what Coach calls a scrum, I think aptly described, and gains about 3.5 yards. Corey, Coach Schweiss told me one key element of this game he felt like was that they had to possess the ball and run the clock, and that's what they're doing right now.
Exactly. They're keeping the ball out of Farmington's hand. Obviously, Farmington's first possession, they scored twice, essentially. Very explosive plays.
Foster and Black back in the backfield together. Nick Fowler was in there for a few plays. Now you've got Foster and Black, and here's Black, follows Foster to the hole. He needed just a couple for the first down, and he's got it. Well, Mike, you are seeing 22 football players within about 3.5 yards of the ball, just slamming into one another.
We watched last night at North County. Both teams elected to play this way a good portion of the night. But that's a big pickup right there, and he got it by about a half a yard. But that's a big play. Again, time, able to eat some time off the clock and still have a chance to score. That's a big fourth down conversion. Very well executed.
4:50 remaining in the first quarter, and Central operating from the Farmington 30-yard line. They've got a full complement of linemen, and they've got extra blockers, and just attacking the middle of the field. This is Karis Foster. Had a little seam early in that one. Got down to the 25-yard line on a gain of 5. They'll take a gain of 5 all day, won't they?
Yes, Foster is quick. He hits a goal quick, and like I said, I've been impressed all year, in the games that we've done when he catches the ball out in the perimeter, and, he makes some nice moves, and he's doing that from the backfield right now.
Yeah, I agree. He's best in the open field, but shows he can run through the tackles too.
Yes.
So Foster now with 3 carries and 30 yards rushing. Foster and Fowler in the backfield now. Foster with a carry off tackle right side, and once again, move the pile 5 yards and move the sticks. 4 carries for Foster, 35 yards. 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 7-0 Farmington on top. As Coach mentioned, Farmington with a couple of big plays on their drive. And for the Rebels, now this is what they want to do. Eat the clock, eat the yardage, try to tie this thing up. Fowler in the backfield along with Black. 2 tight ends and lots of blockers. Essentially 9 blockers before the snap, but 10 blockers after the snap, because the running back who doesn't get the ball becomes the lead.
Enough of this. Let's get a stop.
Yeah. You've shown me this before. I recognize this. Black and Foster, and a 2nd and 10 with no gain on that play. Line of scrimmage is the Farmington 20-yard line. Direct snap coming to Black this time. Off tackle left side. He does get 3, but once again it's McCarthy. McCarthy with a good nose for the ball.
If you watch Park Hills, their kids are watching the play clock and not snapping the ball till it's almost expired.
And this is how they operate. He completes to the left side to Brody Cole. Cole's driven out of bounds after a 2-yard gain.
Little throwback screen, fake the run the one way.
Long or 4th and long. 2 wide receivers to each side. 1 running back beside Pig. He operates from the shot.
Good throw.
Yeah.
Chad, how many times have you watched at the pro level even the guy not run the route far enough? He ran that to the sticks to get the first down.
Yeah. For the Central Rebels, Karis Foster